In the self-improvement space, you hear the advice, just take action, bro, more than you see at live, laugh, love posts on the Facebook pages of middle-aged mums. And at face value, this advice doesn't seem that great, I'll be honest. But actually, when you kind of delve a bit deeper into it, it's some of the best self-improvement advice there even really is. I had this epiphany after reading the book The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. Great book. I will not shut up about it anytime soon. And there was that kind of click, that epiphany moment where I realised, yeah, just take action, bro. It's actually some of the best advice you can actually give. Because there is only one thing we can control in life, and that's our actions. Which is scary, I know, and everything ultimately is kind of down to us, but the only thing we can control is our actions. So unless you believe in astrology, and you are an insufferable bitch rising with a lack of accountability moon, you will know that you can control your actions. So, because they're the only thing that we can control, therefore they should be our metric for success. But that's not how society works as a whole. We end up putting out, success is how much money you have. It's how many Bugattis you've got. It's subscriber count. It's likes on your Instagram post. It's something that you cannot control because other people see that. That's a metric that other people can use to compare you against others. And, if you want to throw in the Jordan Peterson social dominance hierarchy meme, then feel free. But realistically speaking, that's not how we should define our own success. Because we could be the best doctor in the world. You could be the best doctor in the world and a guy comes in. And if he's suffered a gunshot wound to the head and he's dead on the scene, there's nothing you can really do about that. Unless, you can cast necromancy, but that's a whole different thing. But he is dead. And despite you doing all those actions, you cannot control whether or not that patient that comes in is alive or dead. And a lot of doctors, they do base their self-worth off of how many patients they have that have lived or died, which they can't control. And it's the same thing with bankers, is that bankers decide, or bankers believe that their worth is kind of based off of how much money they have. The markets could crash tomorrow. They do not have any complete control over it. They can only take the actions necessary in order to make it as good as possible. It's like preparing for this. I can prepare and prepare and prepare, but I can't control how well it's going to go. We cannot control the outcomes. We cannot control what happens. We can only control what we put in, which is our actions. But the issue is that for some reason we have developed this kind of reasoning that motivation leads to inspiration, leads to action, which is from the book. And the reality is that doesn't work. Like if you watch a 30-minute motivational, inspirational David Goggins, Jocko Willink, Hamza Ahmed, who's going to carry the boats, buzzword, Chris Williamson, whatever video, for 30 minutes, you're not going to feel inspired or motivated, really, are you? But if you actually take action, you're going to be motivated, right? You're going to get inspiration from taking action, which leads to more motivation. And I know it's kind of hard to reverse that way of thinking, but that's just how it goes. If you have a habit tracker, like myself, you know that when you sit there and you do a habit, you feel motivated to do another one. Because you've already taken an action. You've already done something. You've gotten the ball rolling. That's the hardest part. That's always the hardest part. It's the first step. And if you've done a habit yesterday, you feel more inclined to do it today. Because it's like, well, I took that effort yesterday to do it. I want to improve the streak, or I want to get more percentage overall in my habits, which is what I do. And that just shows that you can kind of have that motivation from simply just taking action. Motivation isn't something that comes out of nowhere. So it's action leads to inspiration, leads to motivation, and then it doubles back round and leads to action again. So now you've created this feedback loop, and it's kind of like a perpetual hydrogen-powered engine, except you don't get killed by the government for inventing it, which is pretty neat, So take action, because it is literally the only thing you can control, and it is the only metric for success that truly matters.